What's up, YouTube? It's the Tattoo Tech. Today's video, we're going to be setting up a new installation of Windows 10, run the decrapify script, and all of that we're going to do over the network. I'm not even going to use install media. I've got a virtual machine already set up on my computer, so let's hop on over and let's get this thing started. So I actually changed my mind and decided to install this into a virtual machine instead of on that laptop, just because the camera setup I've got, it just gives too much of a reflection back off of the screen when I'm trying to do a screen capture on that thing. So I've got this new PC set up over here. We've got 4 gigs of memory, 6 cores on the CPU. There's no media in the CD-ROM drive because we're going to boot this from the network and install Windows over the network. So let's go back to our console. Let's let it connect. I'm going to have to reboot. So let's reboot it. And then shift enter. There we go. A little early. And right now it is loading this boot image and everything on my server. And I'll be connecting as soon as everything boots up. I'm actually also looking to see what kind of strain it puts on my server as well when I've got a computer connected installing Windows, to see if it ramps up the CPU usage or anything. I'm kind of curious about those analytics. But back to the video. Alright, setup is starting. Once you get to this first part, it's legitimately just like any other installation of Windows. This right here just has your language set up and your keyboard input. Now here's where we connect to our server. Put my credentials. Now that I'm logged in, as you can see, I've got Windows 10 Pro. These are server images right here, but we are going to go with Windows 10 Professional. There's the hard drive space I allocated, 120 gigs. Go ahead and click next, and it'll copy the files over once the server and everything initiates. So there's talking about, it's already copied all the files over to the machine. Now we're just getting the files ready for installation. It'll go through all of this, install the features just like a regular normal installation of Windows. So we're going to hold up right here, and I will jump back over once it's done installing. Alright, so we're back at the setup screen, and you're literally, it's just like any other installation of Windows. After this, you'll go through and you'll pick your keyboard layout, your language, all that other good, happy, fun stuff. Of course, they have some important stuff to do. This part of Windows takes almost as much time sometimes as the install process does, and all it is they're sitting here and they're installing a whole bunch of stuff you need, don't need, probably never use. Now I will be also capturing a custom image off of the laptop that I'm running to install on PCs. I just haven't made that far yet. That video, I may do a video on that custom image once I get it done. Haven't decided yet. Thanks for my patience now. I also noticed that when I'm installing from the server, it doesn't actually really ramp up the resources that I'm using within the WDS server, which is kind of cool. I'd almost like to install to several computers at once and see if that, makes anything ramp up, or if it literally just runs smooth, because this is really the first time I've dealt with WDS, but it's pretty awesome to be able to copy all those install files over Ethernet instead of from a jump drive or off of a CD. and it's still setting things up. I said it takes a few minutes to go through, and plus running this in a virtual machine, this is an older version of Proxmox. I need to build my new server and migrate everything over, back it up, update this server, and I think I'm going to leave this one just running my NAS storage server and use the new one to run all of my testing virtual machines and the stuff I just play around with off of it. In the future, not too close, I will be building me an AMD Epic server, but that's going to be a while because I'm not quite ready to spend $1,100-$1,200 on a server yet. But once I do, that'll eliminate all the other ones that I've got. Probably give one of them to my kids for something to play around on. Coffee break while we're waiting on this. And they're still getting things ready. Like I said, I remember when Windows 7, the install was so straightforward. It was just, they didn't install all this extra crap that you don't need. It just, you installed Windows and you booted up to your desktop, and those days were awesome. And now they want to download a bunch of apps that third parties have paid them to basically force feed you, and that's where all those apps come from. It's not something that Microsoft is like, you know what, you may like this. No, they've actually been paid by other companies to force feed you these apps that they pre-install, and you can't really get past that. Let's accept a little license agreement. Go on to the next part. But you can get rid of a lot of those apps, and that's the fun part. That's what we're going to do today. We're going to go through and we're going to create an offline account. I like how they put that option back in here, because used to you had to disconnect your network and go through this setup to get it to let you create an offline account. We're just going to go with user. We're going to create a password for this computer. Not right now. Usually, obviously, you would create a password for your computer, but this virtual machine is not going to be up and running very long. I will be deleting it later. This is just something I'm doing for the purpose of this video. Go through and uncheck all this tracking stuff that Microsoft wants you to blindly accept and allow, which we don't want. We don't want them to be able to track our keystrokes or anything. And I never use Cortana. That's just one thing. I've never used it in Windows 8. I will not use it on 10 or 11 once I start running 11. Which that'll be after I update my Proxmox to the newer version, because it allows me to give the settings I need to be able to run Windows 11, because this does not have the support for the TPM 2.0, and the new Proxmox will allow you to set up a machine with the TPM. And that's probably most people's problem with being able to run 11 on their current hardware, is the trusted platform module. It's security for your device, but if you don't have the ability for that, then you will not be able to run Windows 11. So when you're checking the requirements, you may think, you know, well, my processor speed's good, my memory's good, my graphics card's good, why can't I install it? And that's why. It's the trusted platform module. If you don't have that, then Windows 11 will hang up and it'll stall every single time. Like, you can't even set it up in a virtual machine unless you're able to run that virtual machine with the TPM 2.0. And there's workarounds, but it just takes way too much time to get everything up and running. And here we are finally at our lovely desktop. As you can see, it's Windows 10. Our start menu is cluttered up with all this good, happy, fun stuff, and it's just, yeah, it's not fun at all. Usually the first thing I do on a new install is go install updates, But today we are going to be going, and we're going to pull this script over off of my storage server onto this desktop, and then we're going to run it in PowerShell. I have ran this script on a laptop here, outside of a virtual machine. Seems to run fine with no issues. Haven't noticed anything buggy with the laptop itself either. That way, if you're worried about what's in the script, obviously open it up, go line by line, and look and see what each part of the script itself does. We're going to go with network, but network discovery is off. Yep, let's turn it on. We're going to make this a private network. Put in my credentials. Decrapify is the name of the script. And I'm just going to right click. I'm going to run that with PowerShell. I hate how slow these VMs run on this. The Windows VM runs on this server. If I ran this inside of VirtualBox instead, it would probably run a lot smoother. But I don't have. I have VirtualBox within my computer, but I don't have a standalone version to run a full-fledged server off of it. And now it's going to run through and it's going to get rid of all this stuff that was pre-installed on Windows that we don't want. It's also going to disable completely a lot of the tracking stuff that Microsoft puts in. Even though we disabled it, it's going to remove it as well, and then prevent a lot of this stuff from reinstalling when you do updates. So that's another key part about this. Like, you can remove all this stuff, but then Windows is still going to try to force feed it to you when you do updates or update to a different version. So just keep that in mind. Some of these things may come back. Most of them shouldn't. You should be pretty good on that for the most part. But we should get down to about 110, maybe 116 processes that we're running on this computer. Right now we are setting at 127, 126. I would like to get that number a lot lower, because the least amount of background processes that you're running, the smoother your computer's going to run, the less memory you're going to use at startup, which right now we're only using almost half of the 4 gigs I give this machine, and that's at boot up. This thing's, and most of your laptops, unless you go out and buy you a gaming laptop, are only going to have about 4 gigs of memory when you get the computer. So if you're using half of that because you're running processes and services, when your computer starts up, then you're just eating up system resources that you don't need to be using. We're also going to run a few more things that I do on every installation. I could have went ahead and done that while I was in Task Manager. We'll go to the Startup tab. We are going to disable Microsoft OneDrive, which we will be going and uninstalling that completely if this script don't take care of it, which I believe it does. And then also we're going to go ahead and, while this is running, go to the start menu, type in ms config, hit enter, and once this box pops up, we're going to change it to boot with using every core of the processor, and we're also going to stop a lot of services that are not Microsoft services that may be starting up with the computer. There shouldn't be any non-Microsoft services starting up, and it's going to take a minute for this to pull up because we are just running but yeah, there shouldn't be, like I said, there shouldn't be any Microsoft services or non-Microsoft services running because you really haven't installed any additional software after the install process. So as you install, whether it be your printer, a different web browser, whatever, then there's going to be some kind of update service that starts. There's going to be, additional services that start up when you start your computer up, but you want to minimize those. If it's not something that you use on a daily basis, then and that service don't need to be running for you to launch that program, then you can go in and you can disable that service to start at boot and let it start up when you open the program. That way it's not running until you need it to run. And the script is finally finished. As you can see, this start menu has been trimmed down tremendously from what it was. Now, press any key to restart the system. Let's let her restart, and once it comes back up, we will have a brand new Windows. Dark mode will be installed as well by default, which is kind of cool. I'm digging the dark mode. And it's working on updates, so that's going to take a while. So here we are back at our desktop after everything's restarted. Check out the start menu. Nice, clean. I've already unpinned the Microsoft Store off of my desktop. Let's check and see what processes we're running. Performance. We are down to 105 processes on this computer. Which, okay, imagine this is your gaming PC, and at boot up you're running 105 processes. Now you've got resources that are freed up that you can, use those in game. Go down here to our File Explorer. You'll see dark mode is enabled. It's also down here in the search box, which is pretty awesome. I just like the look of the dark mode. But anyway, that's going to conclude this video. Hope you guys enjoyed the content. If you do and you want to see more, consider subscribing to the channel, hit the bell notification so you get notified as soon as I upload a new video. Also, if there's any content you would like to see, leave a comment down in the comment section, or go to my website. I'll leave a link down below. Hit the contact form and put in those suggestions there. That comes straight to my email. I do check every one of those. Also, consider giving this video a like if you liked it. Thumbs down if you didn't. It's okay too. But until next time, peace.